Okay, I have been doing a lot of videos about cool toned makeup. One that I have not done yet is eyeshadow. So I have a ton of cool toned eyeshadow palettes that I can share with you that maybe you don't already have and that you might want to add to your collection if you're looking for that kind of hard to find cool toned eyeshadow palette. Now, I will say a lot of brands have started to make more cool toned eyeshadow palettes, especially like high end, because they've kind of gotten the message that some of us really want that. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the high end ones that really kind of made a splash. I'm specifically talking about the Xenon palette from Natasha Denona. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Let's start with Natasha Denona. Okay, so this is not a cheap palette. It is one of the classic Natasha Denona palettes with a twist. It's pretty much all cool tones. Now, this is a little bit confusing because you see like this warm stuff here. That's because I took a couple of my very favorite ones out of this and I put it into one of her portable palettes. That's the nice thing about Natasha Denona is if you like something in here and you have your favorite ones, you can pop them out, you can reorganize, you can do what you want. So I will go ahead and put up, the actual palette here. This is what it looks like. Here's some of the looks that I have done with it, and I have a whole video about it, so I'll link that as well. My overall thoughts on this particular one is that it is very silver blue. So if you want blacks that are absolutely more like blue toned, this one goes in that direction. So it is very, very like cool toned. Now that makes it very hard to wear for a lot of people. If you are ultra cool toned though, you're like a white blonde, these look great on you. If you are like me, where you're very, very pale, you are cool toned and you have blue eyes, or well, mine are actually blue green. They're yellow in the middle and they're blue on the outside, and so they look kind of blue green. One of them is more so than the other, so I've got heterochromia, just a little bit, right? At any rate, the point being that blue based blacks are definitely going to look better on me. So if you are very, very pale like me, but then you have warm chocolatey brown eyes, it's a little harder to wear something that is so white and so blue black. So if this appeals to you, go ahead and check out my full video on it so you can really get a good look at it. But this made a big splash as one of the first high-end, like just I'm going for it. We are ultra cool palettes, and the quality is good, just like all of Natasha Denona's stuff that I have tried. She knows how to make eyeshadow. I really do like her formula. So at any rate, that's this one, and you can give this one a try if you're really feeling like it might apply to you. Okay, now another Natasha Denona. I'm gonna put these on the floor because I literally have a pile in front of me. Another Natasha Denona is, this was meant to be cool toned. This is the Glam palette, and it's a great palette. However, for somebody like me, this is not that cool toned. Now, if you're more warm toned, this may read cool on you. So I do like to mention it, but I would not traditionally say that if you are super ultra cool toned that this is going to read super cool toned on you. There are some sort of grayed out browns, but most of these, as with most Natasha Denona palettes, have a lot of warm undertones. So not technically a super cool palette. It is cooler. It is a great like neutrals palette. I certainly like this for me better than like the Makeup by Mario, their neutrals palette, which is just straight up warm on me. This is closer to a neutrals to cool palette. So if you have a warmer skin tone but you want to try sort of cooler tones, something like this, see these grays, those are going to read a little bit cooler on you. So this could end up being sort of a cool tone palette for you. So it's worth a try. The last one in my high-end sort of palettes that are expensive is this Dior palette. It's a newer one, and it is one of the Backstage Smoky Essentials 002. This one is new to me. It is absolutely beautiful. I absolutely love this color story. The one thing about this, I wasn't really sure when I bought it because I bought it online. I thought that maybe it was going to be a little bit of shimmer because you can almost see a little shimmer on it. It's really not shimmery at all. These are really mattes. Pretty much all of them read as mattes. This is my first Dior eyeshadow palette, and I know people always talk about them being really good, in my opinion, and maybe this one is different, although this is absolutely beautiful. These have a ton of fallout. They are very, very powdery, and they get muddy really, really quickly. So I'm not going to return it because I love this color story so much that I still want to work with it and use it. I mean, I think I'm going to take this like to travel with me because these are just all my favorite colors and they're all leaning cool. Even some of the ones that are just a tad bit warm, it all will work with a cool palette. And I think this is so, so gorgeous. And it is actually a nice little size for taking for travel. I don't know. I need to work with this one more. If you were curious, that's kind of what I can say about this one. It is truly very cool toned, very beautiful, all mattes. And here's the look that I was able to make with it. It required so much cleanup. But after I did the cleanup, it looked really, really nice, like very high end. So you know, buyer beware, or just go in knowing that that's kind of how this formula is. I still really like it though. Let's move into indie palettes. I think I'm gonna put Sigma in there because they're kind of an indie sort of, you know, company, but they're a little bit bigger than indie. they're sort of in between. They have high-end pricing, but they're definitely sort of independent. I noticed a difference in their eyeshadow pigment and the formula. It is very beautiful. They have beautiful, beautiful palettes, and it is, the best way I can say is it's got this sort of, it's a little tiniest bit gritty. And I don't mean that like as bad, but it has a different texture to it than any other eyeshadow formula that I have tried before. Their shimmers are very beautiful. This is their new cool neutrals. And I would say that that's, sorry, this thing is so shiny in my lights. There we go. From like here up, it's cool. These are straight up warm. However, the two sides work really, really well together. So if you didn't want to go full cool and you wanted sort of a mix that was mostly cool and you could warm it up a little bit, that actually is my favorite. If I go dead cool, it's a little hard for it to not look strange on me. So I like to put in just a little bit of warm so that it reads as, it's like sort of, it just like settles in and it looks right on you. Whereas when I wear all cool, like dead grays and blacks and silver, it clashes a little bit with, you know, my very cool skin tone. So this is beautiful. As I was talking about on the formula, their shimmers are this, they're not like, it looks very, very shimmery on my finger. They're not as punchy and exaggerated as some of the other ones that I have tried. These have plenty of pigment, but if you are not looking for that like, whoa, you want something a little bit more sophisticated looking, Sigma's shadows really sort of fit that bill a lot more. So gorgeous palette. I actually got mine on sale on Amazon because they're on Amazon now for $36. So you know, this is normally like $54, I think. If you're looking for a deal on this, check out Amazon. It goes on and off sale all the time, but that might be a good place to go try this one if you wanted to. And here's the look that I was able to make with it. In general, their shadows are very, very high quality. They have beautiful sort of color stories, but you will notice that they have a slightly grainier, different texture. And if you want them to really, really pop, you need to put down a little bit of like NYX glitter glue or something like that to get them to be really, really shiny. But if you're not looking for that, then these are perfect. You just get this little bit of nice shimmer and then beautiful, beautiful color stories. Okay, that's enough about Sigma. Next, this is the Ghost Town USA palette by Nomad. This is very cool toned to the point where I found it a little hard to use, but it does have a good shimmer. Beautiful. These mattes are so dead cool. These sage greens, so pretty, but they do have a few warmer colors in there. So this is another one that if you don't want to fully commit to the like dead gray, very cool toned palette, this has got a good mix of things. And if you like little pops of color and foiled looks, these are really good. Again, these are not the shiniest of the shiny, but they are, I would say, in a 1 to 3 on shimmers, I'd say these are a 2. 3 is like the Moira shadow pots. 1 is like the Sigma, and then 0 is nothing, right? Okay, so I'd say this is a 2 on these. Very beautiful. This is a little bit softer of a formula than the Sigma, not quite as dry. So there's a little more fallout, but just generally speaking, this is a more interesting, I think, cool tone palette. And I really, this is one of those things that you get from indie brands where it's good quality, really interesting, cool ideas, and a gorgeous palette. So I definitely highly recommend this one as well. This one's a bit on the expensive side. Finally, on the indies, this one's called Cold Moon, and this is from Ensley Rain. And this is my only Ensley Rain one that I've ever gotten. I was, inspired by the fact that it was cool toned. And there are so many shimmers in here that are both cool and warm toned, a little bit warmer toned, that this is another one that's sort of, if you don't want just dead cool and you want something a little more fairy-like that has sort of pinks and blues, and this sage green is gorgeous. It's only going to show up on the lightest skin tones though. It is very light, but it's super pretty. This is very much like cool toned but ethereal and very fantasy. This is gorgeous, and the quality of these mattes is some of the best mattes I have ever tried, literally. So I bought this for the shimmers, but what really blew me away is these beautiful mattes. So I got lots of looks out of this, all of them pretty cool toned. If you are looking for more unicorn style cool tone, this is a really good option. Also very expensive, and I don't know, you can't always get these because they run out of them. So I'll have to check to see if they're even available. I also have a full video with everything, like a full breakdown of this palette and swatches, so you can check that out here too. Okay, let's move on to Colourpop. Colourpop gets its own section because they make so many palettes, and they do have some really good palette options here. Let's go with the classic. I believe you can still get this. This is Stone Cold Fox. That's cool tones. I mean, it's just every cool tone you could want. Most of these are mattes. This is a good matte formula. Colourpop is hit or miss, so you have to kind of go palette by palette. They have like a series of palettes and like time periods when they were making palettes where they're really good, and then they'll go through and the palettes are not, like the formula is like not that great. They're kind of hard pan. This was during their good time, so I can recommend the formula on this. They do have shimmers. Their shimmers are not the super high-end, super punchy shimmer. They are a more subtle shimmer, but they're good. And for most people, that's all they really want. If you want to have just absolutely every possible option of like basically cool taupe or mauve, here you go. I don't find that I pull this one out that much, specifically because of the size. It's just too big. Also, I like shimmers, like really punchy shimmers, and that's not what this is good at. This is great for mattes and very subtle looks and just everyday kind of stuff. So, but it's a little bit too big for everyday for me. Okay, so let's get into some of the other Colourpop ones that I kind of prefer. First, we're gonna do Of Quartz. This one is very cool toned. Obviously, a lot of people really like this one, and it's just a good solid one. This one's not my favorite though, even though it's great. It's a little more towards the grays, and that's not always super wearable for me, but if you're looking for a solid cool toned one, this is definitely a good one for that. Good formula. You can still get these at the store. This one's just really good. Nothing wrong with it at all. But here's the one that I personally prefer. I think a lot of people actually like this one better, but this one's my favorite because I find this more wearable. It's called That's Taupe. And you can still get this. I think I like this one because the shimmers are really, really nice in it. There's a couple of really good ones. You can see I've panned these. And their tones are cool, but not completely dead cool. These are a tad bit warmer, and these colors are just perfect on me. I use them for like my crease in the corner, and they are just right. And then the shimmers are also just right. This to me is probably one of my absolute favorite all-time palettes. I was thinking about buying it again because this one's probably 3 or 4 years old, but they still have them. I see them at Ulta, and you can order them from Colourpop as well. But if you are looking for that like everyday, this is one of the ones that goes on trips with me. Just I need to not even really think about my eye look because it's just dead simple, right? You know, this is always going to look good on me no matter what I'm wearing. This one is probably your best bet, and I think it's in the $14 range, so not too expensive. Great formula on this. Not a ton of fallout, which, you know, some of them do have a ton. This one does not. Nice, soft kind of formula, but not too soft. And I'm just, this is probably one of my, this is definitely one of my #1 picks. So if you can find this one, which you should be able to, and you just need a for sure, like that's going to work for me, for most people, this is my #1 pick. Okay. That was a lot of like taupes and stuff like that, but you know, cool tones is also like blue, right? So I actually have a couple of blue ones from Colourpop. I just tried, this is the new one, So Elemental, and here's all the swatches. This is definitely a very cool toned and pretty wearable. I don't wear this one all that much because for me, these colors end up being just a tad bit bright. Not what I was looking for. I like a muddy blue. I like a blue with an even more green undertone than this. And I like it to have almost a little bit of brown mixed into it. These are more like straight up, very highly pigmented, very clean blue. And that to me looks like Barbie makeup. And so I tried several different looks with this, and it looked very Barbie-like on me. It might not do that on you. It does have a nice formula. I would say this is medium good for them, pretty decent. Not their absolute best like the That's Taupe, but good, solid. So if you were wanting to try this, this one's good. Not my favorite for cool tone, but is definitely truly cool toned. So if that's what you're looking for, I can definitely recommend this one. Now, the one that I like more, but it is very hard to find because it has been discontinued, but it is an absolute classic, is the Colourpop That's Baroque, or no, just Baroque. This is more the kind of blues that look, it's like blues, blue gray, purple gray. These colors look fantastic on me personally. And if you can find this, it's a really good formula. There is some fallout with these darker blues, but this one is just gorgeous. I mean, absolutely, like this is where they managed to get that little bit of natural instead of just like almost primary pigments in there so that it looks good. It like accentuates your blue eyes and it looks really natural on you, even though it is cool toned. And you know, true cool tones look a little scary on most skin tones because we all have a little bit of warmth. You know, we are alive. There's blood underneath our skin and it shows through, and you can see that. These have the tiniest bit of warmth in them, even though they're cool colors. And so they just, chef's kiss. These really, really look good if you want to do that. Like just, if you want to do a smoky eye, this is gorgeous. So I absolutely love this. You can like troll around on eBay or Poshmark. Sometimes you can find these totally unused. Sometimes Amazon even will have, you know, something that somebody's selling. It's worth finding if you can and you're looking for these kind of things. This is one of my favorite palettes. I'm keeping it for as long as it's not hard panned, and I've had it for quite a few years and it's fine. So I don't know, I probably shouldn't put it on my eyes, but I always learn the hard way. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on to sort of drugstore, because there's actually quite a few at the drugstore now as well. Okay, so this latest one I found, this is new from Makeup Revolution, and I really like this. I think this is a really good formula as well, and a really interesting color story. It is so cool toned that it does kind of wander into that kind of like, it's a little bit hard for me to wear unless I add a little bit of the warmth in. The nice thing is they put a couple of sort of like very lightly warm colors you can put in there just to warm it up a little bit, and it's just, they do have a really nice shimmer. I love this sort of, I mean, it's like the color of my hair almost, and that bronze just helps sort of, you know, mitigate some of these other colors. These mattes are beautiful, and they all make really good sort of crease colors, and I love these sort of muddy, grayed out, there's like a little bit of purple in there, a little bit of brown, blue, you know, it's that like je ne sais quoi. I don't know quite what it is, but I like it. You know, it looks good when you actually put it on somebody's skin. You know, it looks grungy, muddy, but good. Definitely good quality. The palettes are like $12. Really, really impressed with these, and even their cream shadows are actually quite good. Once they dry down, it's a little bit hard to like remove them. So they're actually really highly pigmented, not like waxy or gross or anything like that. They're pretty good. I had the Huda Beauty one that had the black cream, and I'd say it's every bit as good as that black cream, and I really, really like that in her the grunge palette. So this one's only 12 bucks though, so highly, highly recommend this. And I think this is a really good palette. Okay, now this one's new to me. It's what I'm wearing today. This is the Midnight Dune from Morphe. This is definitely a bit warmer, but it's also very wearable, and it does have a little bit of sort of grayed out mattes and the shimmer. Wait, is that a shimmer? No, here's the shimmer. And very much like my favorite Colourpop taupe one, very similar. I like the Colourpop formula a little bit better than Morphe. Morphe tends to have a little bit of a drier formula, and there's usually quite a bit of fallout because of that. So I would definitely say this has quite a bit of fallout. Their shimmers are not as punchy. They're more of a 1 to a 2 in my made up shimmer categories. So this one's good. It is a good price. If you can't find the Colourpop taupe one, this is a good alternative. Very, very similar. But if you can find the Colourpop, I would get that one instead. What I will say, Morphe, their black is really good. Like in all of the other palettes, I can't say there is a really good deep dark black. Even in the Natasha Denona Xenon palette, she does not have a deep, dark charcoal black. Everything that is in there has that blue undertone or gray. And Morphe does a good dark black that you can actually use as a liner. So that is one of the things that they really excel at, in my opinion. These are good. They're not great, but I mean, for I think $14, it's a really good option, and I mean it's a beautiful palette. They also have a larger all mattes palette that is definitely much more gray and very, very cool. I'll put that here. I didn't get that because I really like my shimmers. I don't tend to want to do the mattes, so it just didn't appeal to me as much as this, which did have some shimmers in it. So it's also better size. The big palettes, I just won't pull them out, you know? I'm not the only one. I've heard other people say that. Okay, now this is another one from Morphe. This is a new one. This one, they do have a pretty like punchy shimmer here. These shimmers are better than the shimmers in the one I just showed you. Again, this one is got a mix of very cool gray tones and grayed out browns, but it also has like these sort of warmer, lighter crease shades just to sort of bring it back to make it more wearable. This is a better formula. It is a really nice palette. I really like it also, you know, in that, you know, kind of $14, $15 price range. And This black is probably the darkest black that I have ever found in any palette. My one problem with it is it doesn't even matter if I spray my brush. When I put this on, the fallout is nuts. So if you don't mind cleaning up some fallout, you're gonna get the deepest, darkest black in a powder that I have ever found. By the way, if any of you have, because this is something I'm searching for and I haven't found it yet, if you have your like favorite deep, dark black sort of eyeshadow, let me know, because I'm looking for that. This one, the color is absolutely there. It's that, but the fallout is insane to the point where I won't use it because a lot of times I'm stupid. I do my eyes last and not first. And you know, it's one of those things like I just don't, it's hard for me to do my eyes first because I need the rest of my face to be a white palette so I can like figure out how it's supposed to look. So I'm not going to change that. Anyway, if you guys have a recommendation, please leave it below because I'm still looking for that deep dark black that doesn't fall out crazy. Anyway, so that's this one. You can get really beautiful looks. I'm not the hugest Morphe fan, but this definitely fits the bill of like a cooler palette that is affordable and actually it's pretty good. All right, so that's that. Finally, this one, it's funny that it's called the Dusty Matte because it is dusty. It is definitely dusty, but this is a $6 palette. This is by Catrice, and this has been an oldie but a goodie. These are really, really wearable kind of, you know, gray browns and a little bit of a rusty terracotta. And that's not a deep dark black, I can tell you right now. There's a lot of fallout from these, but this is a really nice soft formula. And it is definitely very matte. For if you want this color palette, this is a really nice one for like $6. You can find Catrice on Amazon, or some of the drugstores actually carry it. So I really like Catrice in general. Not everything, but this is one of their good palettes that I can definitely recommend. You can get some really pretty looks with it. So that's that one. I'm gonna go into all the stuff that are sort of one-offs that I have found on Amazon. So kind of like Korean style ones. And also my very favorite Moira. So let's get into that one. This is one that is more purple. There's definitely sort of a cooler purple. I find it difficult to actually pull off cool purple. For whatever reason, it looks weird on me. It clashes. It's definitely not easy for me to wear. This one is sort of medium cool purple. This is Folklore. I don't necessarily like all the Folklore stuff, but some of their stuff is great. And this particular one, which you have to go to their website to order. I know I said it was on Amazon. A lot of Folklore stuff is on Amazon, but this one, now that I'm thinking about, is not. This one is just really good quality, and I absolutely love these. These cream shadows are just, oh my gosh, these are so pretty. I wear this actually quite a lot, and these are definitely very sort of cool toned on the purple side with a little bit of brown. They're duochromes. They have that wet look. It's a really good formula, honestly, and this is a cheap palette. So you know, again, hit or miss. I can say that this particular one is really good, and it is pretty cool toned. I love this particular one. A lot of times that's not a very punchy color. This one has a lot of sort of intensity, and so you can use that as like a little pop of color, and it doesn't get muddy. It looks bright and very cool. But what I really like this one for is all of these duochromes that are in the cream shadow formula. These are better for that almost one and done look, or a very simple look, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So if you need something a little more on the purple side, or sort of brown and blue, this one. This is one of those, I haven't talked about this ever before. This is one of my super secret favorite cheapo palettes that is just like, oh, it's so nice. Really, really good. I highly recommend this. It's worth going ahead and ordering it. If you like that watery kind of formula, this one's worth getting off of their website and waiting for the shipping. It just straight up is. So highly recommend this one from Folklore. This one is called PP01. All the Korean ones are like that. Violets for Roses. So this is gorgeous. Very, very nice. Okay. Now, along the same lines of ones that I end up ordering, you know, online, and that are a really good deal and that have that same sort of formula, that cream formula. The Moira cream shadows, these are some of my absolute favorites. I use these as toppers all the time. So we're going to kind of move into stuff that you can use as single shadows, or you can use them to cool down other shadows, or you can use right as that shiny pop right in the middle. So this is just a great, really look at the intensity of that beautiful cream formula. And these are really cheap. I think they're $8 a piece. They'll last you for quite a while. I've got this very white one. I think it's called Starlight. This was probably my favorite one. I have two of these because I've gone through it. It's that classic, it reminds me a little bit of Pat McGrath, where it's both, it's duochrome, and it's got the brown with sort of a teal bit of a reflect on it. And it's just, boy, it just feels really nice. It's a really good cream. They don't dry out. And then another really cool one is this blue. They have blue. And this one's got both blue and purple in it. It's gorgeous. This one's nice because if you don't want to commit to like a heavy duty, very dark blue, you know, on the edges or whatever, you know, if you're not doing like the full on sort of smoky eye with blue, but you just want a little bit like in the corner to be like, hey, I'm doing a blue look. This watery blue really works. This is one of the ones people will ask me like, hey, what were you wearing in that video? This one. I'll wear this one with the white in the middle if I'm going for like a cool kind of blue look, but not too much, right? So really like those. Also with Moira, they have these chroma light shadows, these little singles. This one has a little more yellow to it, so it's more of a champagne. This looks a little more natural on me instead of dead white like the Starlight one. And this is a little bit drier of a formula, but it is also really, oh, sorry, I already had stuff on there. But it's also a very reflective formula. So I use this in the center all the time. So this is another really good one if you're looking for a cooler look and you just want it to be sort of single shadow, or, you know, you want to cool down another look, what have you. Those are really good. And finally for Moira, these star shadow pots, these are freaking gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So let me open these up. So they're a mess, but they're sort of like, they're like a cream shadow, but they are chunky, shiny, I mean, very intense foil. And they do have some very cool colors. I've got this silver, and I think it's called Jupiter if I recall. They have a white. I'll get into this one. Woo! Oh my gosh, it's such a mess. Okay. And here's the white. Now the white was a little, I haven't used it as much. Well, that's interesting. The white one's got a little bit of gold reflect in it, and it's a little bit flakier. That's interesting. I haven't used that one that much. And one of my absolute super favorites, it's sort of a almost teal, but dark stone silver. Very beautiful. Love that. Is that the same? What did I? Sorry, I'm like not a professional at this. There we go. That's more what it looks like. Okay. I accidentally mixed it with another one. So yeah, it's like a teal. That one's probably my favorite. I will do that as a single crease shade all the time when I'm like wanting to be extra super pretty. Love that. Okay, I just got these. These are L'Oreal and they're brand new. They are Le Shadow Stick. Yes, Le Shadow Stick. And Taylor Wynn was talking about these. She was trying this silver one and I actually used it today. These have, they're very soft and they have sort of a cooling sensation, and they're very reflective. I wish they had one that was just a little lighter kind of white, but if you're looking for silver or sort of a champagne color, these are both really beautiful. And really, sometimes, you know, sticks can be like, they kind of have a lot of drag or they're chunky or whatever. These are just ultra smooth and they are very shiny. They're really pretty. So if you are looking for sort of a stick version, I like these ones. Phew, okay, so that was a lot. I didn't realize somebody had asked me, like, do you have cool tone eyeshadow recommendations? And I was like, yeah, I think I do. And the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, I think I have a lot because I do collect pretty much everything cool tone that I can find. So that's all the ones that I would recommend that you can still get mostly. And I think it's a very specific thing that not everybody wants, but it's nice to have in your collection, or if you're very fair and cool toned and you want to do a cool toned look, it's really nice to have these in your collection. And most of these are not too expensive. Some of the high-end ones definitely are, like the Xenon palette. That is really, really specific. I have it because I am a collector of makeup and I do sometimes want to do something dramatic, and I don't have all of Natasha Denona's palettes, but I have a lot of them because I really like the formula, and I'm a collector. So would I shell out that kind of money if you're just your average person and you're not like the only people who I've seen it look consistently really good and you can wear it all the time is if you're like a very pale blonde, like very pale skin, cool tone, and very, very light blonde hair as well. That you could probably wear that one quite a lot, but for everybody else, it is like I'm doing a look. It's very specific, and you know, it's not for everybody. Most of these other ones are great for everyday looks, honestly. If you are not the warmest of the warm, if you are neutral to cool tone, these are all gonna be a great thing to have, and they don't cost an arm and leg, most of them. So there you go. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have a favorite palette that I missed that I can add to my collection. And if you like this kind of content and you haven't already liked and subscribed, I sure would appreciate it, as it really helps my channel to grow. I hope you are having a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.